place verses 34 to 35 to after verse 40. However, and then he's going to talk about the ones that have it in the traditional spot. The very early, the B46, which is about 200 AD, so we're talking 200 years prior to the other ones, the earliest of the other ones, along with a number of others. Okay, with Aleph, BA 3388 MG, Vulgate, Old Syriac, and most other manuscripts, as in a bunch. There's a whole bunch of manuscripts that read these verses in their normal accepted place. So we have to recognize it's extremely imbalanced evidence. We have a small number of manuscripts that have it after verse 40. Then we have a bunch of manuscripts and earlier manuscripts that have it in the traditional spot. And so, yeah, that seems like it would answer the question. And this is, of course, where normal people
testing
like,
1 2 testing.
Understand this manuscript stuff, but I hope I'm explaining it in a way that's simple. I always figure my audience is intelligent. You just aren't trained in this area. So if it just gets broken down in layman's terms, you're not going to have a hard time understanding it. So hopefully that's the case. So how many is it really? Now here's the question. How do we explain that handful of manuscripts that has it in a new place after verse 40? The answer there is to realize that this handful of manuscripts, in turn, may only come from one source. Now, if that's true, that these manuscripts go time and narrow down to coming from just one sort of source, then it's not actually that impressive. It just took one scribe, one time, to make this one change, which would mean that the original placement in the middle or before the end of chapter 14 is where it belongs. All right, so here's a quote from that.
Just go to Coffee with the Champ. Joel is on there now. Welcome, Coffee with the Champ. This is a show that I want to do tonight after Saturday's fight. Um, I have Don on there, Joe Maldonado, and we're just gonna talk some boxing. This is like an informal show, just some guys getting together and just discussing the fight. Uh, and we just go from there. I'm just waiting for some questions to come on. Joe, can you hear me? Just give me a thumbs up, please. Participants. So we've heard some interesting things that are going on in the fight game now. Don Shotty, can you hear me? No, I'm doing it off my channel. Donovan, are you on here as well? Joe's Don on here? Okay, guys. So let's talk about the fight, man. Shoot some questions, and let's talk about the fight again. First off, let me start off by saying this about Saturday's fight. I find it funny that as Terrence Crawford was coming up into the ranks and doing what he was doing, he wasn't getting the respect that he deserved. And now it seems like after he wins, they're taking the his victory away. They're trying to tarnish his victory, in my opinion, by saying Spence didn't look right or that wasn't Spence, and all of these things, and say, well, he wasn't able to get his jab going. Well, allow me to say this: Terrence Crawford had a lot to do with him not being able to get his jab going. Um, Definitely, it was a masterful performance, and basically what you had here is you had two great fighters, but one was greater than the other. That's all it was. Taking nothing away from Errol Spence, he came in ready, as far as I know. Of course, there's rumors going on now that he wasn't exactly ready, but that's normally the losing end of what people, say. But it's amazing, you know. So hit me with some questions, guys. Let's talk about it, and I'll read them out. And I'll announce who you are as well. You guys got questions, shoot them out, and I will. You guys got questions, shoot them out, and I will. You guys got questions, shoot them out, and I will. You guys got questions, shoot them out, and I will. You guys got questions, shoot them out, and I will. You guys got questions, shoot them out, and I will. You guys got questions, shoot them out. We want the smoke says, do you see the rematch at 147 or 154? Again, let me say this about that rematch. Number one, if it's going to be a rematch, I would say it'd be at 147 because the titles would be up for grabs again. If it's at 154, there's no titles, there's no hardware on the line. Again, let me say this about this rematch. When a person or any fighter sustains a domination like it was before Saturday, it's not good to come back in 6 months. Not against a guy that totally dominated you like that. Normally, if I'm not mistaken, after a brutal knockout, depending on what athletic commission is residing over there, there is a waiting period. And like I said before, if he's gonna go to 154, let him go to 154. But he at least needs to take maybe about 9 months off. That'll be a tough fight. Joel Maldonado says, how long do you think that Errol Smith should sit out to get himself together after the loss? And like I said before, I wouldn't come back in December after a match like that. I think, and I could be, I guess, just a little, I don't want to say pessimistic, but I think there's going to be a lot of shakeup in the Spence camp. Just from the brutality of that loss, Joe. It will be a tough fight. There are a lot of things that Earl has to come back and ponder. And I think Earl needs to take this time to relax, to be with his family, to contemplate. Does he still want to do this again? I mean, after all, let's look at it this way. Hypothetically, if both of them were to quit right now, him being right on top, and of course, Crawford being on top, they both go into the Hall of Fame as world champions. So that's my opinion. We Want the Smoke says this, as there should be, if him and DJ stay together, that's Derek James, that's Errol Spence Daniel, who would you like to see added to the team? Well, let me say this. Added to the team or replacing someone. And I know I shouldn't do this, but since this is America where you can speak your opinion, although it's not always validated or accepted by all, I was asked this question a couple of days ago. I was looking at Virgil Hunter. He had Andre Ward. He knows the sweet science. Why not? Now, rumor has it that like DJ, and I'm not saying it's true because it's only rumors, it's only speculations, that they didn't spar like in 6 weeks, or there was something that happened. I don't know the rumors. I'm just telling you what I heard. It's a tough call to make. But I do know this. I do know that DJ had said one time that he doesn't look at videos of fighters and stuff like that, and that's beyond my belief. I don't subscribe to that. Next question. So let me ask you guys something out there on the YouTube channel. Who would you like to see Earl come back with? There's another question from We Want the Smoke. Do you think Calvin Ford would be a good fit for EJ? There's a strong possibility. Fighters, I know, have to have chemistry. Definitely have to have chemistry. I heard a person say this one time, and I believe it's true. If you have a racehorse and you have a 90-pound jockey on that horse, and he's been winning all the preliminary races, horse races, and all these things, and come the day of the Kentucky Derby, that you take that 90-pound jockey off that horse and put another 100-pound jockey on him, that racehorse is still a racehorse. Excuse me, that racehorse is still a racehorse. But the problem is there's a different jockey on that horse. There's something that's not going to mix. There's something that's not going to vibe, and you may have an issue. I mean, that's just my opinion. Joe Maldonado says, I believe Virgil Hunter should coach Earl after watching his recent video. Joe, I agree with you wholeheartedly. Virgil Hunter said some strong things, said some sincere things. And like I said before, I think DJ went over to London while Earl is home with his family and stuff like that. And I don't think they're just sitting around just not doing anything. There's a lot of contemplation going on of his next move. And, he definitely going to weigh out the pros and the cons of how he should come back. on this fight if he comes back. Again, I, once again, I don't want to see him come back against Terrence Crawford right away. That was a masterful performance of domination. When you get into fights like that, normally fights like that take 2 or 3 fights out of you. And if you don't believe me, uh, watch Meldrick Taylor's fights after he fought Julio Cesar Chavez. He was never the same again. So we'll see. We Want the Smoke says, who would be a good secondary itinerary trainer for EJ, depending on who that they should focus on? Again, they should, to me, I keep throwing Virgil Hill's name out there. If he gets the job, he could give me a percentage because it kind of pumped him up. But I don't know. It's a roll of the dice. What there's definitely got to be a change in Earl Spence attack. They didn't seem to have a game plan for him after the knockdown. A lot of things that I saw that, on the outside looking in, and if I'm on the outside looking in, surely the corner man who's on the outside looking in could have made those adjustments. Andre Crawford said, you believe he should still have a rematch even with a good layoff? Well, allow me to say this, Andre. This is a matter of dollars and cents. And I say it like this, and let me explain to you why I say this. If the rematch is at 147, which I highly doubt it's going to be, Earl needs that time off to get his psychological edge back, to get his physical edge back, to get anything that could critique what he didn't do in his first fight. Now comes the funny part, the money aspect. Is this going to actually be for the title? And that's a rhetorical statement because I know it is. Or is it going to be to cash out? If that makes sense. From a business standpoint, if the money's right, if it doesn't make dollars, it doesn't make sense. So I'll just throw that out there to you. Andre Crawford said, you believe he should still have a rematch even with a good layoff? I think I read that, bro. I'm sorry. And that's a tough one, man. Like I keep saying, when fighters of Earl Spence caliber, someone that dominated, in his division, to sustain a beating like he did on Saturday night, I don't know. I've seen fighters become gun shy. We Want the Smoke says we'll do the rematch for the undisputed at 147, even if they fight at 154. That I don't think that's in the contract. I don't know, because when you're moving up to 154, there's no title at the line. That's a junior middleweight now. 147 is welterweight, so that's a different division. Next question. This is coming off the top of my head. Boots Ennis is clamoring for Bud. Boots Ennis is a good fighter. He's proven himself. But I don't think he's ready for Bud at this point. We Want the Smoke says, do you believe Tank has a shot? Yeah, he has 2 chances, Slim and none, and Slim is out of town. Andre Crawford said, who actually proposed a threat to the baddest man on the planet? Right now, it's the first number before 1. It's 0. I don't care what people are talking about. I keep telling people, I've been telling people ever since I've been following Bud, he is special. Bud is a systematic surgeon. He's ruthless. You ever watch those movies like Jason Bourne and he gets in trouble, or what's that movie, Taken? Like when they go hands on, like, not saying those guys that they're fighting are not good, but they're not as good as the Matt Damons and Liam. It's just one step above. Bud is just one step above everybody right now. He is special, and I don't know why people can't see that. It's just he was built for that. I mean, it's it. It's like, it's like a child prodigy. They used to have on these shows, like these little kids have talent, and these like 4-year-olds never had a piano lesson in their life, and they're playing Mozart. And then you have, grown men or grown kids taking piano lessons to learn how to play Mozart. They get it, but that kid, that something that's been in them since they were born, you can't take that away. We Want the Smoke says, Boots gets stopped by Bud badly. There will be no arguing from me. I totally agree. You're preaching to the choir. A lot of time, here's the thing with Boots. You got Virgil Ortiz there. You got One-Time Thurman. Like, let Bud have this moment. If you're serious about fighting Bud, if you're serious about fighting Bud, show your seriousness and get rid of a Thurman or a Virgil Ortiz. And then all of a sudden, people will start clamoring, wow, we want to see this fight. But right now, you're just on top of the, you're calling out Bud based upon Saturday night victory. Next question. And I think I said this before. I'm always amazed how fighters turn around after the press conference, and either they'll say this or say that. What makes Earl a champion, with or without his titles? He said he makes no excuses. Now, if the guy that got dominated is not making excuses, why is everyone and everybody making excuses for Earl. Everybody's making excuses for Earl, but Earl himself. I find that kind of weird. Um, Andre Crawford, Andre said, I agreed he's not ready for a title shot against the best yet. He hasn't fought any champions. Case in point, like if he really wanted to, start making some noise, he should be on the phone with Thurman, just like Spence and Crawford were on the phone and said, listen, let's make this fight happen. One of us, and let this be some kind of elimination to see who gets a shot at Crawford. We Want the Smoke says this. What if Earl was to win the rematch? I don't see it yet, but if it were, how would that change everything? Easy. I'll give you one word. Trilogy. You beat me, I beat you. We gotta shoot for a third fight to for all the marbles. That's what great fighters do. Ali did it. Holyfield did it. Manny Pacquiao did it. And the list can go on and on and on. But that's what great fighters do. I mean, hey, listen, don't get me wrong. One of the most exciting trilogies, and I'm not throwing shade at any other fighter. I mean, look at Mickey Ward and Arturo Gatti. No titles on the line, 30 rounds of banging each other, and for what? And I mean that, I'm saying that tongue in cheek. When I say for what, I mean, there was no hardware on the line, but they wanted to prove that Mickey won one, Arturo won the next two, and didn't have to. We Want the Smoke said, Joe Maldonado said, I agree. I have a title eliminator fight. Absolutely. Why not? Have a title eliminator fight between Boots and Thurman. The winner of that gets a shot at Thurman. Gets a shot at Crawford. And, at 147. If Crawford stays at that weight. But here's my thinking right now. Bud moves up, not because he's afraid of Boots or Thurman, but they're bigger fish to fry. Pun intended. There is the Charlo brother. He's got the junior middleweight title. What a way to cap off a legacy by beating him. Could you imagine? And then Bud saying, you know what? I've done everything I need to do. That's just my opinion. What do you guys think? Well, hold on a second. We Want the Smoke says this. If he were to do that, there's a legitimate argument for him being a GOAT. Well, and I agree. To me, he's a GOAT right now. In two weight classes, a unified champion. Hey, I'm going to do something that Floyd usually does to fighters that stay in the limelight. Floyd never unified a title in two divisions. Joe Maldonado says, I see Bud beating Charlo. Agree 100%. If Bud beats Charlo, he's 100% the greatest of all time. Andre says that. No dispute. Nor should there be any dispute now, because when this fight with Spence and Crawford was about to happen, the underbilling on this fight was, this is for supremacy. This is for the welterweight title. Whoever fights and becomes victorious is the best pound for pound. And we all know what happened on Saturday night. If you don't know, you must be in a coma or something. Andre said he's the best, hands down. I totally, 100%, unequivocally agree with you. He is the best, hands down. And it showed. I'm sorry. That reminds me of something. At the aftermath of the fight, when people were talking about Earl not looking himself and all this stuff like that. I don't want to throw shade at anybody, but I remember when Tyson lost to Buster in Tokyo. All of those allegations and conspiracy theories to why he lost, they didn't come up till after he lost. Nobody gave Buster a chance. And believe it or not, a lot of people weren't giving Crawford a chance too, but he proved them all wrong. Andre says, because it's not just how the accomplishments or accolades, it's how he accomplishes it. It's always in dominant fashion. He makes it look easy. How can you can't argue with that? You are absolutely right, Andre. He, like I said, which boxing is an art, where you have in music, you have your Beethovens. In art, you have your Michelangelos and all those other things. In boxing, you have Bud Crawford. He painted a masterpiece set to the tone of, I'm going to beat you tonight, period. I'm sorry. It was great. It was a great fight. I heard somebody said that I think Teddy Atlas was saying that he is the best. He does everything well. Like I didn't even see like a kink in his armor. Everything he did was on point. Everything. And I mean, it's hard to argue with that, It's hard to argue with that. Thing Andre said, if Bud becomes a 3-time undisputed, they may have to make his own personal boxing Hall of Fame if he does that, because you don't have too many guys that have that accolades. Anything else, guys? I have a question for you guys. Not switching gears, but in the boxing realm, what do you think about Tyson Fury completely bypassing a fight with Usyk to fight? I forget he's an MMA fighter over in Dubai. What do you guys think about that? Joe Maldonado says no boxer has the accolades like Bud has at this point. I totally agree, Joe. totally agree. I mean, wow. Like, people people are going to be talking about this for a very, very long time. I mean, that was an epic fight. We want the smoke says uh, he ain't gonna fight Ruiz. He won't fight anyone legit. I know. I don't understand how the WBC cannot put a clamp on this as far as and you guys out there can correct me. Is this going on? Is this fight? Does this fight with Fury with this MMA fighter? Is this actually going on his boxing rec, or is this just an exhibition? You believe that it is going? Listen, and if it does go on his boxing rec, that's ridiculous. You know, like what? And I don't even know. Oh, there's no exhibition. Okay, we want smoke. It's no exhibition. What sanctioning body is going to allow this to happen? I mean, well, of course that's a rhetorical question. It's the WBC, but really, like fans, true fans, not casuals, true fans should not turn into this fight or order it at all. I don't care what the people over in Dubai do, but true boxing fans, they should have nothing to do with this, nothing at all. We want the smoke, the WBC. Yeah, exactly. Um, Teddy Atlas said one time, "We be collecting." Um, um, got Canelo coming up. When is that Canelo fight taking place? I think in September. Is it in September? Um, Against Shamil Charlo. Um, that'll be a good fight. That'll be a good fight. Um, I'm going with Canelo on that. And after he fights the Charlo, if I was Canelo, you know, I said this about 3 years ago. You should have fought uh, David Benavidez 3 years ago. I don't think. Again, he's only getting better. He's only getting stronger. Um, that is going to be a tough, tough fight for him. Joe, I believe you're right. I think it is in September, but it'll be interesting. Um, I, I think Canelo has two more fights left in him, and one of them should not be David Benavidez. It's just my opinion. Anybody else got anything? Andre, Andre says, I got Canelo as well. There's no way Charlo wins at 168. I believe so. Again, there's levels to the sport, and right now at this level, between them two, I think Canelo is a strong, smart fighter, and it comes down to ring IQs. If Charlo beats Canelo at 168, then I'd have the utmost respect. Me too. I mean, it would surprise me. I'm not going to make excuses. Um, so let me say this now. Canelo's been fighting now, and you hear me say this now because I don't want to say this after the fight because everybody will say it, but I'm saying it now before the fight. Canelo has been fighting since he was 16 years old, and he's 30 something now. That's a lot of wear and tear on a guy. And in this business where it's one on one and you've been issuing out a lot of hurt, you know, it can be, you may be coming to the end. We want the smoke said Canelo will set traps. I totally agree. Um, he can set traps. And again, once again, um, it comes down to ring IQs. We want the smoke is back in the training camp of EJ. It says, I'm no longer confident in DJ like I was. Well, I'll comment on that again when he made that statement. After his fighter loss, I got to be in London. I don't know. I don't know. That was kind of like, okay, you got your tail whipped. I got to go. But I don't. That's weird. Joe Maldonado says, but Canelo keeps getting upset when reporters ask him about Benavidez. Canelo's excuse, he doesn't want to fight no more Mexican fighters. Ali said this one time, Joel. He said he hated fighting Mexican fighters because they're willing to die in the ring. Benavidez is that type of fighter. Not saying Canelo isn't, but again, I said that's a long time for Canelo to be in the fight game. Very long time. We Want the Smoke says this. Do you think it's a confidence that both of his fighters look terrible? Okay, who are we talking about? We Want the Smoke. Which two fighters are you talking about? Are you talking about in the welterweight division or the super middleweight? Which one are you talking about? Unless I missed something. Canelo needs to fight the half of Canelo needs to fight that half of Benitez that isn't Mexican. That's too funny. Oh my goodness, I agree. But listen, believe it or not, the name of this game is to hit and not get hit and take as minimal damage as possible. I don't know Canelo's mindset, but as I said before, that's a fight that should have happened a couple of years ago. Canelo would have done himself a service and caught David Benitez while he was green and, could set traps for him early. This kid is getting bigger and he's getting stronger. He hasn't even reached his peak yet as a grown man. I think he's 25 years old. He hasn't even turned 26 yet. So he's only going to get stronger. Yeah. We Want the Smoke says, EJ, did you mean DJ and Frank Martin? Yeah. I'm sorry. I agree. They didn't look too convincing, but once again, this is what happens to me. And I'm not saying you can't have multiple fighters, but if you are the head trainer, I think it's very difficult to be able to give quality time if you have that many multiple fighters without help. I could be wrong, but that's just my opinion. And there's more people on the line. I'm surprised none of you guys have mentioned Shakur and the probable fight with him and Lomachenko. Um, they're doing something with Devin Haney's title. Of course, I think it's the WBC says that he's on pause right now, whatever that means. I like to see what that means in their bylaws. Andre Garver says he destroys Lomachenko. Not only does he destroy him, but I think that would be the end of his career. Joe Maldonado says, what do you think about Benavidez and David Morrell fighting? Hey, I think they should fight. Wait till the smoke clears. Again, that could be an elimination to see who gets a shot at Canelo. My opinion. Andre Crawford said he sends Lomo into retirement. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And then he can, and then that that sets up for Shakur and Tank Davis. We Want the Smoke says, do you see David Haney beating Shakur? No, he's not going to do that. That's why Devin Haney put aside the relinquished his title to go up there to fight. What's his name? Prograis. Am I saying his name right? He went up top. Yeah. So yeah, I don't see that happening. Not on this date. That's right. Haney cannot listen. And let me tell you why I know that. I'll say this now. Shakur is special. Here's a guy that after Haney beat Lomachenko, Shakur steps in the ring. Haney turns around and bangs his chest and tells Shakur, hey, I'm the top dog. And Shakur smiles at him and says, for right now you are. For right now you are. Let me tell you something. You couldn't tell me that didn't resonate in Haney's head. Like, yeah, I just had a victory, and this guy is like trolling me in the ring, saying, enjoy it right now, because if you face me, it's a wrap. Haney can't beat Shakur. Nope. I'll even go as far as says Haney can't beat Tank. What do you think about that, guys? Haney. I mean, yeah, Tank brutally stopped. Wait a minute. What's this? I missed this part. Andre says Tank brutally stops Shakur. Andre, I'm going to respectfully respect your opinion, but I don't agree with your opinion. Again, I think Shakur is special, and it comes down to ring IQs on that fight. Just my opinion, but I respect yours. Let's see, Tank stop Shakur, Haney. I mean, what do you say? Hey, Tank stop Haney. I mean, yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. I see what you're saying. Okay. I agree with that. Tank beat Haney as well. Okay. Yeah. Tank brutally stops. yeah, brutally stops Haney. Brutally stops Haney. Haney loses to Tank by KO. Not a lot of Haney fans in here. Haney loses to Tank by KO. Tank and Shakur is a mega fight. Absolutely. All day long and twice on Sunday. Mega fight. And that'll have to happen. I meant, okay, Andre. LOL. I bet he stops Haney, not Shakur. Okay. Everything I said, I take that back. Okay. So we're good. We're on the same page. Him and Shakur would be a mega fight, a phenomenal fight. Absolutely. Listen, after the fight that went on Saturday, believe me, that's going to send shockwaves to the boxing divisions. Like guys that dare to be great, they're going to want to emulate this. At first, it was Tank versus Ryan, and then you had EJ versus Spence. I mean, it's got to happen. It's got to happen. Joe Maldonado, I want to see the undisputed fight with Tank and Yep. It's going to happen, man. Listen, for some reason, and I'm not taking away from other weight classes, in these lower weight classes, these guys are daring to be great. This reminds me of when I was young and I had the privilege of watching guys like Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier fighting Ken Norton. And all these guys were fighting like 2 and 3 times against each other because, it's daring to be great. Like, I always think it's funny in the ring when you have 2 guys of the same weight class and the referee says, and here is the undisputed so-and-so holder. They name the fighter and they'll say, here is the undisputed. Well, that can't be right. It is disputed or you wouldn't be in the ring, So somebody has got to know who's better than the other one. I mean, that's just the way it is. One of the reasons why I think things like this happen is because of they do have too many belts out there. When I was watching guys like Ali, there was one belt, but hey, Andre says that would shut the boxing world down. Just like he said, versus blood. Oh, great. We got another friend of mine on here. His name is Marcus Whitfield. He likes boxing. Marcus, jump on in with questions. You want to talk some boxing tonight? We'll go on for probably about another 20 minutes, and then I'll shut it down. But we were just if you could look at some of the things, Marcus. We were talking about the Errol Spence and Bud Crawford fight. Made a comment. We were on the phone last night, and I think I was telling you guys about a Richard Steele event of mine, and I didn't have to sign any papers and non-disclosure papers. Well, I want to talk about the fight that happened Saturday night and how the brutality of what took place in where Crawford was totally dominant over Errol Spence and the ramifications of that. So let me go back a little and say something that happened. The brutality of that fight reminded me of a fight that took place many years ago with Julio Cesar Chavez against Meldrick Taylor. If you guys ever want to watch a great fight, that's a great fight to watch. With 2 seconds left, referee Richard Steele stopped that fight. He got a lot of flack for that. And Meldrick was never the same after that fight. If I'm not mistaken, there was an orbital bone that was broken in his eye, and he had swallowed 2 pints of blood. I say all that to say this. Years later, I took some amateur fighters to a tournament down in Kansas City called Ringside, and I had the privilege of sitting down with Richard Steele and having lunch with him. I was just in the right place at the right time, and it was just me and him. And we're sitting down and having lunch, and we were just talking boxing, and we had a great time. And then I said to him, Mr. Steele, I said, I have to ask you this question. He said, yeah, go ahead. I said, in the Meldrick Taylor Julio Cesar Chavez fight, with 2 seconds left, why did you stop that fight? And he said, you want to know the truth? I'm going to tell you. He said Meldrick Taylor was hitting Julio Cesar Chavez 5 punches to 3. And I said, yeah, I agree. And then he said, but the people that were in the seats and people watching on TV didn't see what I saw. And I was like, what was that? He said the punches that Chavez was hitting him with were thunderous, like were thumping, like were bludgeoning blows. And he said he knew when that fight was over that Meldrick would never be the same again. And he said he didn't stop it because he favored Chavez. He stopped it because of the brutality of that fight. I said all that to say this. The stoppage that took place on Saturday night, it was warranted. Errol Spence has got a huge heart, but a fight of that magnitude, what happened during that fight, who's to say that when should he come back, will he ever be the same? And that's my opinion. And you could look at the Chavez fight with Meldrick Taylor. After that fight, Meldrick Taylor was never the same. As a matter of fact, and somebody was asking me about the rematch with Spencer Crawford. In the rematch with Chavez, and Chavez knocked him out earlier this time. Yeah. We Want the Smoke says the stoppage should have occurred earlier on Saturday night. I absolutely agree. People can say what they want to, but I'm going to tell you something. If you look at that knockdown in the second round, look at Spence's legs and look how they didn't respond. Look how his legs didn't respond. I'm just saying. Marcus says, I agree. I think Spence didn't even look right coming in the ring. That's debatable. Some people said he was ready. You know, when I see stuff like that, I always think about what we see and what people see. If people in the arena are seeing the same thing, it's nothing for them to get on those betting sites and change their bets, but a lot of them didn't. So who knows? I said he was done in a second, and plus Bud let up off the gas. Yeah, listen. I seen Bud let up off the gas when he fought Sean Porter. Believe it or not. That's all I'm saying. We Want the Smoke said he was done around round 4 and 5, in my opinion. I totally agree. The surgical precision punching that Bud Crawford was doing. I mean, those of us that do any target shooting, you know, when you put that laser on your target and you can't miss, every time Bud touched him, it was laser. Whether it was in the head, whether it was in the body, creating room to throw punches on the inside, catching stuff, I mean, parrying the jab and coming back. Listen, you couldn't have wrote um, a better script. Oh, and let me just say this: kudos. We talked about Derek James, but listen, kudos to Bo McIntyre and his team. They fought. They had the game plan. They executed. And I'll tell you something else that I love: the fact that they didn't turn around and had to go conventional. They stayed southpaw. And the reason why I said that is because the old expression goes, "If it ain't broke, don't fix it." They didn't even have to fix it. And it looked like Bud was just in cruise control. That's all I'm saying. Marcus says we want to smoke. I agree, brother. Spence was outclassed. Yeah, totally. Marcus says they took Earl's jab away. Yep, they certainly did. They took it away. They stole it. They hid it. Here's the guy that talked about having an effective jab. His jab was nullified. Nothing. And I always think about fighters, whoever dictates the pace of the fight with their jab usually leads in the dance. Joel said, I knew Bud had power, but seeing that power hitting Errol was scary. Yeah. It definitely was scary because, again, and I hate to be redundant, but you never know what kind of effects that has on a fighter. A fight like that, and I don't know if you could fact check, but if you get a hold of some of the great coaches, they'll tell you fights like that take 2 or 3 fights out of you. Absolutely. We Want the Smoke says it was up to DJ to find out how to bring his jab back and take away Bud's weapons. Very disappointed in DJ. We Want the Smoke. I bet you EJ is more disappointed than you are because they didn't have a game plan. I mean, let me take that back. They did have a game plan, but I think their game plan was based upon what Earl had done in previous fights. And to me, that would be like our military having the same game plan for other wars, the same game plan they had for Vietnam. Does that make sense? You don't train for fighters the same way, even though it's winning. Even though you're winning, you don't. Listen. Let me tell you something. I hate to say this, and if I put this up on my channel, I think I am, but I'm gonna get a lot of flack from what I'm about to say. There's a heavyweight, the former heavyweight champion Deontay Wilder. Heck of a puncher. When he fights Tyson Fury, is he still a heck of a puncher? Yes. But to me, he comes up on the short end of the stick. Why? Because they have one game plan. Malik Scott. I'm not sold on him yet. I'm sorry. But that's another topic. Marcus says, Coach, what do you think it's worth Earl rematch in the 154? Marcus, as I said earlier before you came on, I think this. Bud is in the driver's seat right now. If Bud goes up to 154, he's not going up to 154 to fight Spence. He's going up to 154 to fight the Charlo brother. Period. Charlo brother's got some hardware, and what a legacy that would be to either cap off his career, win that title, and then turn around should he choose to fight EJ again, he can. but going up to 154 in a rematch, from a business standpoint, it's money. Yeah, but Bud's got money now. I think Bud is just solidifying what he did on Saturday night, and that's more greatness. That's in my opinion. Thank you, Marcus. I appreciate it. Yeah, that's to me that's a two-part move. That's a business aspect move financially, and then there's in search of more greatness. I don't think money. I mean, don't get me wrong, money is a motivating factor, but at this point in Bud's career, he wants the respect that he hasn't gotten. And believe it or not, Bud reminds me of a middleweight fighter that just was a great champion, but never got the respect he deserved. But he proved it when he went in the ring, and that was Marvelous Marvin Hagler. Everybody's saying, well, I mean, if you look one of his fights, I think he beat Vito Antuofermo. They gave it to him as a draw. When he fought Alan Minter, instead of having his hand raised in victory over in the UK, they were throwing bottles of beer at him. So, I mean, all fighters want is their recognition and what they do in this sport, and it's rightly deserved that Bud should, be recognized pound for pound, one of the best. I'm sorry. Yeah, I agree. Marvin Hagler was one of the greats. Absolutely. 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 So I don't know if some of you guys had seen the rumors. Some of it's amazing. People can't enjoy their victory with somebody starting to speculate. The funniest thing I saw on Facebook the other day, it says Mayweather comes out of retirement to fight Bud. Floyd is about making money now. Floyd ain't about getting his butt kicked at this stage of the game. You heard it here first. You heard it here first. I'm sorry. Just saying. Just saying. People going to disagree, but yeah. Oh, Marcus. I was trying to tell the rest of the guys that Tank said he wants. I can't. He wants to fight Bud too. Oh my goodness. Listen, Tank. Listen. Let me tell Tank Davis this right now. Hey, Tank. Bud Crawford is no Ryan Garcia. So get that out of your head. Just letting you know. Joe Joe Maldonado says, stupid rumor. Listen, Joe, I totally agree, but this is coming out of Tank's mouth. So when it comes out of Tank, if we're talking about the same thing, are you talking about the Mayweather or the Tank? Because Tank definitely said that today. He said that today. Tank better worry about Shakur. He'll have his hands full with him. But like I said before, Tank, Bud Crawford is no Ryan Garcia. Trust me. Totally different. Totally different. Just saying. And Marcus says, I like Tank, but not that wise. I totally agree. Oh, Floyd and Bud. Floyd had Bud as his number one pound for pound fighter. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, I know he did. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. You have, there's no way you can. Yeah, okay, Joe. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm talking about Floyd. Yeah, there's no way you can. Listen, anybody that doesn't give Bud Crawford the respect of what he did on Saturday night, doesn't put him pound for pound. I don't even call them. They're not boxing fans. They're casuals, and they're casual fans, and they have no clue of what Bud has gone through to get where he's at today, and solidifying uh, what he did on Saturday. Yeah, I totally agree. Totally agree. Yes, sir. Any more questions? Marcus says, I agree, coach. I like Earl a lot, but Bud proved why he's the top dog. Absolutely. And again, I hate to be redundant. Look at a video backstage when Bud and Earl were just chatting it up. And even Bob Arum said to Earl Smith, sorry, Earl Spence, uh, and this is when he was managing Bud at the time, promoting Bud at the time, excuse me, said, the smartest thing you could ever do, Earl, is stay away from Bud. Bob knew. Bob knew. Bob Arum knew back then. And it was so funny. Terrence said, listen, he said, I'm gonna stop you. Terrence said it. He said, when I stop you, people gonna say you were too small. Or you stayed at that weight too long and you were weak. I'm sorry, excuse me. You stayed at that weight too long and you were weak. Listen, I knew it. Bud called it. A lot of people knew it. That's why, again, this fight was so hard to make. And when I say that, Earl did a 70-30 split one time, and there's no way in the world he did that in the guise of thinking that was a good split. I'm sorry. Somewhere in the back recesses in the corner of his mind, fighters watch one another, and they know, oh, I could fight him. I don't really want to go up against him too much. Oh, I'll beat him. I better stay away from him. You think I'm joking? Look at Fury and Usyk. Fury had the audacity. He had one belt. Usyk had three. He gonna give him a 70-30 split. And Usyk said, okay, I'll take it. That's when the backpedaling started. That's why that fight is not happening. And I doubt if it will happen. Ring IQs are something that a lot of people don't want to acknowledge. Ring IQs makes a world of difference in caliber fights. Just saying. Guys got quiet. Everything all right? Barker says, yep. We want the smoke says, yep. Andre, where you at, brother? Joel, where you at? Where you at, brother? Joel says Fury is a coward for that move. Yeah, you know, hate to agree, but you have to, when you're right, you're right. We want the smoke says Fury needs to retire or fight someone. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I there's so many people out there. I mean, listen, out of all the heavyweights he could have fought, why fight an MMA guy? I mean, Jake Paul must be rubbing off on him. Joe says, or just vacate the WBC. Absolutely. Listen, if the WBC stood behind their bylaws, um, this fight wouldn't even be happening. You know? But again, when you're in danger of losing the title, you can circumvent. You can go a different route. And I totally believe that's what Fury's doing, and by doing this. But like I said, I don't know how much the people in Dubai love the sweet science, but what Fury is getting ready to do over there has nothing to do with boxing. It's just about the dollar. Sorry, it's not about greatness or anything like that. That's it. All right, guys. Well, thank you for coming on the show. I'm going to upload this, sign, press the subscribe button, hit like. This is one of those, what if Jamel beats Bud? Hold on a second before I sign off. Bud, we want to smoke says, what if Jamel beats Bud? I mean, anything's possible, but it's highly probable that it won't happen. I think again, with that question, might have been raised is what if Bud beats Earl? Does Earl not still go into the Hall of Fame? Bud still goes. Bud still keeps his two-time unified title, accolades. Uh, those things you can't take away. I mean, I hate to be, you look at years ago before some of you guys were around, even born. 7-0 fighter beat Muhammad Ali, Leon Spinks, and won the heavyweight championship of the world. And at the end of the day, you know what? Believe it or not, matter of fact, he went into the Hall of Fame and beaten Ali. He was never able to do it again, but did with Ali losing and then coming back in, still he was still the greatest. We want the smoke. Jab the like button, man. Thank you. Yeah. So if that should happen, great fighters have lost in the past. I mean, Marvin Hagler lost to Sugar Ray Leonard. You go up to Canastota, in Canastota, New York, and Marvin Hagler is still in the Boxing Hall of Fame. So I don't think one loss, should that happen, I don't see it happen. I don't think one loss takes away from someone's greatness. It just puts a blemish on their record. Joe Maldonado says, I agree. If Jamel beats Bud, his stock will go up even higher. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, again, he'll do something. He'll do something that Mayweather hasn't done. You know, so it's all about in what you've done in boxing, and I'm sure it'll be interesting. And believe it or not, I'll tell you right now, I don't see a rematch happening with Earl Spence and Crawford in December. I see Bud going after Charlo maybe in December, and Bud and Earl fighting early next year. That's my opinion. But I've been wrong before, so that's my way of thinking. They just sent me something. Um, uh, Chris Eubank just hired. Brian. Hey, listen. No more Roy, huh? Yeah, I saw that. We want to smoke. It says, looks like Chris Eubank Jr. has hired Brian Bomack for his upcoming bout in September in a rematch. That's interesting. If Bomack could get him to avenge that loss, well, if he doesn't get revenge, Bomack, I think, should get Trainer of the Year. I'll read it. I'm sorry, I'm going to read a comment. We Want the Smoke says, I don't think Roy is necessarily best trained. When you're right, you're right. Listen. I say this with no hesitation. Great fighters don't always make great trainers. Sorry, they don't. As great as Ali was, I think he would have made a terrible trainer. And the reason why I do, not because he didn't have the knowledge, but because Ali did things that you're not supposed to do. Drop your hands, pull back on a punch, stand straight. I mean, Ali was able to get away with that because of the fast twitch muscle fibers. He could see punches coming. Ali was the best at what he did. Roy, same way, fast twitch muscle fibers, quick as lightning. Sometimes fighters have a tendency to try to instill in other fighters their style of fighting. Doesn't work that way. They're not bred that way. Fighters are different. Fighters are different. I hate to say this, but how many times have you seen people try to emulate Mike Tyson? Even though Cus had a peekaboo style, but I mean, he did have Jose Torres, successful, Floyd Patterson, and of course Mike. When Kevin Rooney tried to do that style, Alexis Aguirre knocked him out. I mean, like I said, it's different. Sometimes you have to play to a fighter's strengths. And you have to take what they do well and work with it. But I'm always a believer is whatever they do well, don't mess with that. Work on their weaknesses. you know. So we want to smoke is in agreement. Bo Mack, trainer of the year. Sorry, DJ. Not sorry. Yeah, Bo Mack is definitely trainer of the year, and I hope he gets his respect too. I watched that press conference, and um, Bo Mack was saying, like, you never seen, um, you never faced somebody like me. And then DJ went to all the thing you've been hiding is Cheetos and stuff like that. That to me that shows the level where your mentality is. Here's a guy talking about the sweet science and the IQs and the training aspect of fighters, and you're talking about his weight. I mean, if I don't know if that was me after the post-fight conference, I would have came in eating a bag of Cheetos and then offered DJ some. Would you like some? Maybe this will help you in your next game plan. We want the smoke. It's not just Bo Mack. It's also Bernie and Bud's other coach. EJ needs that kind of formation. One man could not do it all. Totally agree. I said this earlier. I think Bo Mack has a lot on his plate. I think I think DJ has a lot on his plate, and one man can't do it all. That's a lot of fighters you're dealing with. I'm sorry, yeah, I think it's a lot of fathers. I got somebody text. Why you didn't send that on the forum? I think Andre said, yeah, a lot of people want to learn from Bo Mack. Hey, listen, what you see last night? I mean, sorry, what you see Saturday night? Hey, why not? Let me tell you something. Bo Mack's stock just went up as a trainer. Not that it wasn't up there before, but it's even reached a different level now. It kind of reminds me of someone that passed away not too long ago. Nasim Richardson. Met Nasim Richardson down in Kansas City. Nice guy, very level-headed, stuff like that. When he took over Bowie Fischer's secondary spot, Bowie Fischer was Bernard Hopkins' cornerman, and he worked with Bernard, and then Shane Mosley and stuff like that, and I think Nasim Richardson was an underrated trainer, but he helped Bernard and was very successful, pretty much up until the day he passed away. So that's where Bo Mack is at now. Bo Mack is in I guarantee you, after what I saw, his phone will be ringing off the hook now. And he could leave a check blank, and they could write him a check and he could fill in the blanks as far as how much he charges. Yeah, absolutely, totally agree. Well, guys, I'm going to end this session on YouTube with Coffee with the Champ. Like, share, hit the jab button. It's been a pleasure talking to Marcus tonight. We went to smoke. Joel Maldonado, Andre, and all you guys that had an input on the show. Appreciate you. Just a form I like to do. I'm going to try to do this time. Now I think at least I got this part down. I don't know about having 4 or 5 people on because I'm still trying to understand this, but at least I could do the comments and stuff like that. But I really enjoyed talking with you gentlemen tonight. Very knowledgeable in the art of pugilism, and hopefully we can do this again real soon. And who knows? Let's pick a day where we can do this, maybe a Saturday evening or something like that, or Saturday afternoon. But other than that, guys, thank you. Appreciate you. Tell your friends. Let me get some views on this thing. I'm trying to build this channel up again after my brief sabbatical. Thank you, guys. Talk to you soon. Take care.